G'day everyone, welcome back to Starseeds and Patriots of Down Under. I'm Chris, your host, and welcome to my awesome channel. And it's a very early morning here today. I've gotten up and it's pretty early. It's only just on 4 a.m. at the moment, so I'm having a very early start to my day. But bless you all for being here and checking out my video. And as it says in the title, what's going on with the Earth right now? Why all the volcanic eruptions? Why is there so many different things going on with the actual Earth herself? Why is the Pacific Rim itself firing up right now? We've seen a lot of countries in the recent days and last few weeks, since the beginning of the year especially, more and more volcanic eruptions, and it's more so in the countries that are specifically surrounding the Pacific Rim. Okay, now for me, I look at the fact that all this controversy around bullshit climate change and whatever else they want to call it these days, it's just, it is what it is. It's bullshit. Plain and simple. It's just another means of them dipping their hands into your pocket and stealing a little bit more money under the guise of tax. Okay, and it's just a farce, an absolute farce. Okay. What we are dealing with here is a natural product of cycles that happen on a regular basis on the planetary scale. Okay, now climate change itself is based upon the movements and cycles of the planet and the universe and the galaxy itself. Okay, now this is all energetic in a way. Okay, and the planet goes through an evolutionary process once every 12,600 years. Okay, now the last one was around about 12,600 years ago. Essentially right now where we are is at the end of that cycle. Now to explain that cycle, it's what they call the Earth's wobble. Okay, now think of the Earth like a spinning top, and as we spin throughout the universe, okay, throughout our Milky Way, around our sun, okay, we're spinning at 32,000 kilometers or miles an hour, okay, like that, which keeps our feet firmly planted on the ground, no matter where we are on the planet's surface, etc., stops us from flying up into the sky, okay. But whilst we're spinning like this, the Earth is like a spinning top, and as a spinning top slows down, you get what they call a wobble, okay. It takes roughly, think of this as the polar north, this is the polar south, okay? And it takes roughly 26,000 years for this pole to do a complete rotation. Okay, now once it gets to the end of that rotation, she goes through a series of changes, topological surface changes and interior changes. Now, I'm not going to sit there and blow smoke up your backsides and say that there is a molten iron core at the centre surrounded by a lava field, etc., all the way through to our mantle, etc., and the crust and all that. I'm not going to even go there because we all know it's crap right now. Okay, especially after all the stuff we've read about Admiral Byrd and the interior of the planet and it's the inner Earth civilizations. Okay, we know that's just a part of our planet, okay? A specific layer, okay? Now, she's going through her evolutionary process of change right now, being at the end of that 12,600 year cycle, doing that rotation that I talked about, the wobble, okay? And at the end of that rotation, the polar magnetic fields switch in such a way that all of a sudden you'll have a new polar north, or north pole, magnetic north, okay? When that happens, pretty much what was depicted in the movie 2012, all continents, countries, no one is left untouched, so to speak. Not one thing can escape from it. The Earth essentially goes through a cycle where she grows and expands, okay? and creates more land mass. New islands come up from the ocean floors, etc. As birds, migrate, move past these islands, etc. Seeds from their feathers that they've carried from other places drop onto the now dried out, land mass that's come up from the ocean. Trees, grass, foliage, flora, fauna, etc. start to germinate, pollinate, etc. New forests, greenery, everything grows. Okay, this is how these things happen. But the Earth itself is expanding in diameter. Okay, now people wonder why the supercontinents such as Pangea and other names that have been given over the years, why the continents themselves have shifted away from each other. Well, they say that's because tectonic plates move as such. Yes, that's true partially. But the Earth itself has gotten, since then, when the Pangea supercontinent was on a planetoid that was this big, okay, since then she's grown up massively since then, and her diameter around the actual equatorial spherical diameter of this planet has actually expanded to the point now where she is going through that process again, okay? And more landmass will be grown and born, okay? New continents. But to do so, she's got to go through some cataclysmic shit. And that's what, and where we are at presently at the moment, she is firing up. Now, for me, knowing that a lot of movies have a lot of truth in plain sight, all of these volcanoes and earthquakes that are happening right now, that yes, we could put them down to dams being infiltrated and smashed apart by the alliance. We can put them down to all sorts of different things. Okay, but the factor that on so many different continents right now, earthquakes are being felt everywhere. Even here in South Australia, well, I'm in Queensland, but in South Australia, we just had one 2 days ago. Okay, New York City the other day, Italy as well. Okay, volcanic eruptions in Italy, also all over the place. We've got earthquakes and volcanoes systematically happening. Okay, and it's all around the Pacific Rim of these major large continents. For me, the last one to go, which will be the signifier of everything to happen, will be Yellowstone. Yellowstone will be the one. That is the super cauldron waiting. Now, whether that be set off by natural occurrences, that's one thing I'm going to put on record now, is that it will be. But as we all know, these so-called elitists, etc., have no longer got any overlords. Excuse me. Their off-world overlords have been removed, so to speak. Okay, and they're scurrying like cockroaches right now to try and maintain control, but they've lost control. But at the same time, we also must not underestimate their stupidity. So I'm going to run something by you right now, okay? Because really, at the end of the day, we don't want to be on the surface of the planet when this all goes down, okay? So I'm going to run a scenario by you. Now, as we've all been told by Dr. Solar, the plan given to General Van Herk at Mount Ravenrock by our off-world brethren and sisters, back in 2022, I believe it was, at Mount Ravenrock, as mentioned, is in full play. And everything that is going on right now around us is exactly going to according to the plan. Even including the Israel-Iran situation. Now, the factor that Mr. B from the US has actually said to Netanyahu, take the win, is all part and parcel of actually a secret deal that has been going on behind the scenes in order to dismantle and to pretty much move forward, okay? And the deal was made. It's actually been going to plan, but in order to do so, Iran must not strike back, okay? Now, we can see what's going on over there. Looks like Netanyahu is going against the deal. which means there's also going to have to be obviously some form of countermeasure plan in place, or 5 countermeasure plans in place in order to take us down a different direction in order to make sure and maintain our assured future timeline. Okay, so I'm going to run this by you. We know that the Sakaar Nebu Greys have been removed, including the reptilians right now that were the overlords of these so-called elitists that they used to take their commands from. We also have a scenario right now where we have a asteroid called Apophis, very close to the running past the Earth every now, on a cycle. Now, Dark Fleet has also been removed, the German off-world breakaway groups, as well as the other groups. Okay, now, knowing that they still work with these off-worlders, who's to say that they can't control that asteroid and send that on a trajectory to us, to our planet, to create a strike that is actually a global cataclysmic event. Okay? It says in Revelations that a great mountain shall be cast down from heavens at the end of days. Great mountain being, in syntax to me, the metaphor given is another word used for an asteroid. A great fiery mountain shall be cast down from the skies and flash forth a brightness 1 billion times brighter than the sun. To me, that's an asteroid strike. Now, if this has all been foretold, we also know that there is another countermeasure plan in place in order to make sure that no loss of life happens right now. Hence the reason why I believe the arcs were put in place hundreds of thousands of years ago by these good guys to ensure our safety. If the factor comes about into play that the Galactic Federation monitoring the situations out there right now and whatever's going on out there are obviously closely watching the off-world groups that have been left and escorted out of our solar system, and also Dark Fleet and any breakaway civilization groups. Okay? Because they've all been expelled and escorted from the solar system. I'm sure they're monitoring whatever their activities they're up to. And if they are going to use Apophis as a means to take us all out, because these guys that are left, these elitists, as I said, do not underestimate them and their stupidity and their idiocy. They are so hell-bent on not surrendering that they are prepared to destroy the fucking world, excusing my language. They are prepared to destroy the world rather than surrender and take all of us out with them. Now, if that means setting off devices near Yellowstone to induce that, or to send an asteroid our way, or whatever, I'm not trying to induce fear here. I'm just trying to relatively talk about the scenarios that they're going to possibly use as a means to possibly induce fear into the populace and take us out with them. I'm not going to do this one.